count on my fingers how many times I've cried in the last decade. Dad,
How would the two be connected?
uh, I feel like extreme emotion on one side is succumbing to the moment. The other side, anger, is, I think, trying to engulf the moment. So on those two extremes of that pendulum, I rarely go. Like I said, 5 times. I remember brother stroke, dad, dog passing away, maybe one breakup, and I can't even remember the fifth in the last decade.
That's quite something. That's unusual.
Yeah, it is.
So you're very controlled then. You're controlled in your emotions.
Fairly controlled, yeah. To the extent that people have called me emotionally dead. People who should not be calling me emotionally dead. If you know what I mean.
Is that worrying to you, or
It's not.
it's done in a way that it is done by design?
No, it's not designed. It's just circumstance. I use the excuse of work. I tell myself that I have been an investor, trader for 21 years of my life. I started at 17, I'm 38 today. And there I do well by virtue of being non emotional and not reacting, not emoting to something. So,
In work or even personally?
even personally,
So you've trained yourself to be like that.
yeah, I think so. Also, that's a very convenient excuse to me, for me. Yeah. So I use it.
Excuse for what?
Excuse for when somebody comes asking, why are you emotionally like this?
You say that my work demands me to be like this.
No, I say that maybe my work has made me like this. I do get sad.
Could well be, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the work we do does shape us to an extent.
Yeah.
So that's probably also a genuine reason.
I'm sure the work you do has shaped you. I mean, your work is 100 times bigger than my work. I think the nuances of it would have shaped your personality in so many ways. The stresses of your life which led you to being the way you are today, only you will know. No?
Right.
And I'm guessing you must have so many. How many people work under the umbrella now?
So across the group, we have 180,000 people.
That's like a country.
Yeah, but it's one team. I mean, that's the way we look at it, which it truly is.
Yeah.
Common, I mean, with a common purpose in some ways. So everyone's pulling in the same direction. And that's a very, energizing kind of environment to be in.
Okay, so we went to college. You were a very precocious young man who did chartered accountancy much faster than should be humanly possible.
Say that again.
6 months faster than what was the time frame you said?
No, I was saying that I completed my CA within 6 months of graduating.
Wow.
Which was a tough one.
What was the proficiency there? Mathematics, was it?
I think the proficiency was just to be able to absorb a lot of things and retain that and kind of reproduce it.
Memory?
In an exam. Of course, memory, but it also is about just sheer volume and how well you retain that and understand that. That of course was the interesting part of it.
Is it like that even today? Are you able to retain inordinate amount of information?
Yeah, less than before, but that's also part of my job since we're in so many different businesses. So I've trained myself a little bit to be like that also.
So after CA, next, what happened?
I mean, I got married, worked for my father. I was also working with my father while I was doing my CA, which meant just sitting next to him. It was like a real-time MBA.
Which part of the business?
So he had by then been detected with cancer. And in retrospect, I think he kind of repivoted the training program that he had for me after that made it quite smooth for me. But he just wanted me to be with him through the day, sit through meetings, be in different situations, all kinds of businesses even then, in the sense some that were doing well, some that weren't doing well, just to give me a sense of, different businesses across the group, a more pan-group kind of exposure, which meant that I sat with him for 8, 9 hours every day. Quite tough, but I could see very quickly that there's lots to be learned here.
What
So it
era
was real
was
time.
this? Which year?
So this would be, as part of your CA, you can intern with a company. And I chose to obviously do that with our company. So this was probably when I was 18. So 85, I guess. It was an interesting time. I mean, very different time from now again. And I remember my mother, he used to complain to my mother quite often that I don't think Kumar pays attention. And I used to tell her, I'm sitting right under his nose, literally. I mean, I could almost be on his lap. And why on earth would I not pay attention? I mean, so this went on for a while, 3 or 4 times. Then eventually I told her, you must ask him to stop and ask me about what's happening, or my views, or something about what's being discussed. Because that's the only way that he will know whether I'm paying attention or not. So he started to do that. And fortunately, I obviously was paying attention and absorbing every bit of it. I kind of gave the impression that I was not being focused for some reason. But strangely, that changed my equation with him at work. He suddenly he said to me, how is it that I thought you don't sort of pay attention, but you simply not seem to know pretty much what's happening. You absorb very fast. And so I said, I'm almost a CA. I'm going to be a CA in 1 year. So obviously there has to be some advantage to that. That kind of was very reassuring to him. He just said that I just feel that I had no idea that you learn so quickly, and which was a huge thing for me at that point in my career, where my father was this huge, almost like a monster the first year that I worked with him. So that was a huge shot in the arm. I think completing my CA was a big thing for me. In the last 6 months, I got a job offer at every company that I went to for an audit. They just knew me as Kumar, and that was reassuring. My father started to get a little worried, I thought, sort of a lighter way. But all of those things were positive, positive signals to me. I grew in my confidence because of that. College, I couldn't really get to because I was either, for 2 years, I was auditing the whole day, part of the CA. So every CA charter, and every end of every term, I'd be outside the staff room and blacklisted and call your parents and all of that. I said, look, I'm doing my CA. I'd said that to you when I took admission. There's no way I'm calling my parents. If you really want me to do that, you give me my TC, and I'm out of your TC's transfer certificate. So this drama went on almost for 3 years, unfortunately. They also kept saying, but we want to have you because, it's such a matter of pride that one of our students is going to complete his CA along with graduation. But they also gave me this sort of tough deal after every kind of term. My father wanted me to attend work and be with him. So it was quite at the same time I was auditing outside firms, every now and then. I remember 3 months, 4 months of going by train to Kandivali for an audit. So life, there was lots of things happening, quite overwhelming. But I had a deep sense that this is all going to work well for me. So I'd kind of given up with my dad on the professional front. I'd figured that, he has it sorted out and thought out much better than I could have ever done. So let me just follow what he says, however tough it might be. And it was very tough. But I'm so grateful for that in retrospect, because as things turned out, he passed away very early and I had a lot of responsibilities to take care of. But yeah, interesting time, but very tough. A lot of hard work. And I don't think I've looked back in the sense that I think I've worked hard pretty much every day since then, other than when I'm on a holiday. I think that's pretty much of a sort of bulwark of the kind of person I am. I've seen that growing up. I had 3 generations before me going to work every day, intensely involved, my father and grandfather and great-grandfather. And after that first initial years, just after I graduated and my CA, I think something that has stayed with me is the work, the fact that there really is no substitute for hard work, for smart hard work. And I think that's a work ethic that I picked up from my family, and I feel very grateful to that for that. So it was a defining period of time for me.
How was it back then? I'm picturing 85, 86, pre-liberal India. You, a 18-year-old man, going to work with his father. Like, paint a picture of your day back then. Where was office? What was the scale of office? What did it mean when you go to work? How did the employees of the office look at you? Can you throw some light? I'm just trying to put a picture to it.
So I was like an intern, other than the fact that I was the owner's son. So I had the opportunity and privilege to sit right next to him. And like I said, it was like a real-time MBA because, I saw him handling tough situations. I saw him conduct an AGM. I saw him firing someone. I saw him hiring some good people, attend to government issues. That kind of exposure is something that you'd get over a period of time in your career. So this was actually quite encapsulated because I think he knew somewhere that he was running out of time. And therefore he created this kind of encapsulated module for me to learn different aspects of running a business. So I was growing personally, professionally. It was a time of stress. I think very few would be able to take that kind of pressure. But, like I said, I knew deep down that despite all the pain, it was well worth it. I was learning. I was in a very steep learning curve. I couldn't have learned all of that sitting in college. I also worked for a year on the shop floor in a textile mill, which was quite fascinating. I wanted to understand about controls, financial controls, how manufacturing works, how how we run a manufacturing business.
Right. And this was at Grasim?
This was at Century Textiles that my grandfather owned and ran at the time. Now we've come to Nikhil when I'm last year of college. So I'm 22, 23, 20 years of age. So that's a lot of stuff happening for a 20-year-old. A lot of my friends had, they didn't, they weren't pushed the way I was being pushed. So they had a lot of free time. They were having a good time generally. And that did pinch you at times, but they were very accommodating and, adjusted things so that I could be a part of it. So it was quite painful, but huge learning opportunity in some ways.
Do you have friends from back in the day who are still friends?
Oh, of course. I have 3 friends from back in the day who I'm in touch with on a regular basis. And thank God for that, because they're such a huge support, each in their own way. You can
Would you
be
like to
pretty
name
much
them?
yourself. I mean, they're not people who are known, they're friends from school and college.
We can give them a shout out.
They know exactly
Who they are?
that I'm talking about them. So yeah, that's a very important part of